Widget switcher comes to help each time you want to display different interface for whatever the reason. In this example, we show a simple form, but after clicking it, it is replaced by a success screen. If you want to use the widget switcher, first you need to have some editor utility widget. Then the only thing that is required is to go to the palette and look for, you guessed it, widget switcher. Let's drag it to our layout, which is a vertical box, and you cannot see anything because widget switcher is kind of invisible. It's just a container. So let's fill it. Let's fill it with something simple. We could add a button. And it is allowed to use nesting widgets. So it's fine if you add the text to the button. Buttons are always cooler when they have some text, and let's call it my cool button. Let's think about some other component because we want to switch between them. So there has to be another one. Let's go and find something maybe for audio, maybe some audio meter, frequency, or just a spin box or a slider. Yeah, slider would be great. So let's add an audio slider or editor utility slider. Let's drag it, and it's invisible, but when you click on it, it's going to switch. However, this automatic switching is only going to work when you are developing it. So if you compile and run the widget, there is no way to switch between them. However, you can go to hierarchy, click on widget switcher, and you will see that switcher has an active widget index. And if you change the index, it's going to switch between widgets. So here is your way to set the default value. However, there's one issue. You cannot bind this value just like you could bind, for instance, the tooltip text. This one could be just bound to some variable, but this active widget index has to be handled by you. If you want to be able to do it, you have to enable isVariable on this widget switcher, and from now on, you will be able to go to the graph and to drag and drop the switcher, and you can set active widget index. Here's set active widget index, and you could provide some number. So let's do it, but for doing that, I would prefer to use a better looking interface. So let me switch to my example that was prepared previously, and this widget switcher is containing two vertical boxes. One of them is some basic form, like send form, fill text, and press on the button. And when the user presses, he sees the other panel with a thank you. And of course, if he wants to go back, he is able to go back. So my widget switcher is already a variable. And if we go to the graph, it is empty. If we run the widget, it's not switching. And that's because I have left this feature to be implemented by us. So let's get back to the designer and select one of the boxes. We have the submit box, and I would like to switch to the other panel when I click on it. Let's scroll to the bottom and let's add an onClicked event. Now we can drag and drop the widget switcher, and we will set the index. I'm going to set the index 1. And if you don't know why exactly 1, you have to go back to the designer. Try collapsing all your widgets that are in the widget switcher so you only can see a list of what is directly under the widget switcher, and just go from top to bottom. The first is going to have index 0, and the second will have the index 1. Of course, you can have even 10 components, and then it's going to be going from 0 to 9. But I hope you already guessed that. We already made the feature for the submit button, so let's do the go back button. Let's select it, scroll down, on-clicked, and we could copy the code, the blueprints we already have. But of course, remember to change the index and connect it. And then fix the layout, because if you have OCD, you just have to do it. Now we can save, compile, run the editor utility widget, and when we click submit, we see the thank you screen, and we are always able to go back. When should you use the widget switcher? Well, when you want to switch the widgets, but please don't use it to change the text or to change the text displayed on the button. You can just bind the text to some variable, or if you don't like this approach, you can set label. However, if your buttons have completely different events, if they handle things totally differently, I believe it's fine to switch them because you will not have to handle too much logic in a single button. And that's it. I hope you liked it. And if you want to find out more on creating widgets and tools and how to automate your work, then check out my Udemy course on blueprints automation, or maybe the Python one if you are gravitating more towards the code than to the blueprints. See ya!